cosplayer. It looks to be an Ari cosplayer. So do you think he's going to be playing the Ari legend versus a female another female represent? I love these picks. It's a very untraditional. Usually we're just seeing two guys go at it. This is a little bit different. I'm curious to see what they bring to the table. If they're coming a little different, I would imagine there's no world where this is a Draven mirror match, is it?
I hope the Ari is playing Ari. Oh, that is not Ari. That is Sett. Ooh, it has the very pretty Sett champion unit, though. I'm a big fan of that art. That is one of the new overnumbered arts that I absolutely love.
Yeah, from Spiritforged, and it happens to be one of the best set cards. Period. Right, the Sett brawler, and oh, chat, we didn't get to see this in all of the Fuzhou regional. This is why they decided to display it for this round number 2. It's gonna be none other than Rumble coming into the feature match. So Sett versus Rumble. We've never seen this matchup before, but I know Rumble is one of those decks that when it gets going, it's really hard to stop. But if they don't really hit the right card combinations, they feel like they don't have too much going for them. On the other side, I feel like Sett, if played correctly, whether you don't draw the right cards, whether you're on the play, on the draw, there's always some kind of lines to pull you out ahead by the end of things. Sett, I want to say, is one of the most versatile legends, at least in Set 1. And it looks like it got a teeny bit better in Spiritforged because things like Punch Furs. And what else did Sett get more buff support? I'm trying to think back of what Spiritforged brought.
Yeah, there is the dragon. I don't know if you play it, but the Fey Dragon, which is when you play me, buff up the 4 friendly units, and then when you spend a buff, you get the gear token. So that's a pretty powerful top end for them. Then you do have the Warmog's armor, which if he does choose to play buffs, that is a good way to consistently get a buff, maybe as an alternative to Arena Bar, as every time you do conquer, you get buffs. So consistent way to keep getting them. And every time you conquer, I mean, your unit's now on the battlefield, and when it dies, you can just pull it right back. So it kind of creates a loop, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. So it could be, that is actually one of the better cards. Newest additions to Sett builds is that Warmog. So I'm willing to bet this Sett player is going to be bringing that to today's round 2. And did they roll the dice already? I believe so. Did you catch who's on the play?
I did not, though. Looks like we're going to see very quickly here. I'm curious to see if this is more of the tribal mech build or the spell heavy I am Kaisa build from Rumble, because I've seen both.
Yeah, we'll see. At the very minimum, I saw a Bring Your Thundersong. We saw how much of an impact that made in the previous game. Let's see what it will do in this round number 2 of today's Chengdu Regional. It looks like Rumble going to be starting it off, going to be hitting those 2 channels. Does he have a forecaster? That best turn to play for Rumble is basically a vision mech. When you play it out, you do get to see the top card of your deck, and it will be the forecaster. You know what? Since it's the first time seeing Rumble for a lot of players, I'll try to put up on the screen as much cards as I can for Rumble, just for any newer Spiritforged players joining the stream. So Forecaster is up there for you guys to read when you have a mech, or when you play a mech, or your mechs period have vision. And there we go. This is another little nice card. Early plays, the Sea Monkey coming out. And that seems to be a decent addition to Sett decks as well. On the play, you could play it. On the draw, you get a little buff for those Call to Glories that we know Sett's all about.
I'm kind of curious why we chose to play the mech card here. I guess the reason would be is if you have a production surge in hand. But there was a Bilgewater Poro in hand, which personally feels like a little bit better of a turn 1 play, as it does kind of guarantee you the gold token. But it looks like there isn't a production surge. Okay. Interesting. I do like seeing the really... Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just about to say the same thing. I do like
seeing the early gold tokens if possible, because the... Oh, you're good. Continue.
I was
Sorry.
just gonna say,
Didn't mean to.
playing out the Poro onto the battlefield seems very curious because it gets its ability on the Conquer, like you said. So
Mhm.
having to do two standard moves to get the fruits from that labor off the Poro, so it doesn't feel too smart. But maybe she has something in mind, just trying to keep that Typherian War Camp out of the Sea Monkey's range because you are getting that +1 might increase from that battlefield. So you are defending with a total of 6 might, which is a little trickier for this monkey to overcome. It looks like Sett might just keep things straightforward, get a simple draw from the Monastery Hirana, so pushing on for the Conquer for 1. Do they decide to get the additional draw? Or do you save it for something like a Call to Glory combat trick? It looks like she's valuing the draw instead. So gonna be picking up a card and passing things forward. But Rumble should be going up to 2 points so far with the hold. But I kind of like this play now, all things said and done. Because at least you held, because if you didn't play Poro there, you would have just lost your forecaster, no?
Yeah, what makes this weird though is now you don't have a push for this turn unless you choose to play like an accelerate, which I guess there's like Kaisa. I think there is a um I think does one of the run no, the Rumble doesn't have it, right? Yeah, it does not have accelerate. I yeah, I'm not really a fan of this play, but I'm sure they have something planned out here. It is a little okay, so yeah, choosing to play and give ganking. This is definitely something you can
Yeah,
do, and
Gem
then you
Gemmer
do have
coming out, and
the
it
Rumble
does.
leader who does give us a shield. Sorry, yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it does get
Sorry,
shield, but it also has. Wait, which one gets shield?
the leader.
Oh, right, right. Exactly. It does get shield, but you are pushing right now. So having to follow that up with a stupefy on the Sea Monkey, you do have
Hmm.
something like a Call to Glory to use the set buff in the current base. That's going to be perfectly enough to get down or bring that Poro down. And that's the only unit with Genki currently. And it looks like we see the full picture now, don't we, NA? Because they played it on the battlefield because they had that Gem Jammer to give it ganking. So it was going to be a conquer either way if this Call to Glory did not go through.
Hmm.
Of course, it looks like he had a plan all along from the Sett player, so making it so much more difficult to take down. Do you have another combat trick? Because as it stands, it's just 2 might going into the 3 might, or 4 might, I want to say, for the Sea Monkey. I don't know if you could conquer this turn.
There's a recall in hand, but opting to not play it, which I think pretty reasonable. I mean, using a recall for a bilge water portal does not feel that good. I mean, the war camp's like defending for a lot, isn't it? Because they each have shields, so they're each defending for 4, so defending for 8. So pretty big for just on the second turn.
Yeah, which makes sense because now Triferian WarCamp seems to be one of the best battlefields for a Rumble player. For those that are newer to Rumble like myself, each mech, like NA saying, does get shield. So on top of that +1, you know, Triferian effectively reads +2 might on all your mech units. And both of those mech units, the Forecaster and the Gem Jammer, are going to be mech units, of course. So you're holding, like you said, 8 total might on that battlefield. Even a Sett Brawler, if it had a buff, it would have to use the buff just to tie things up. So giving Sett something to think about as they pass it on to their turn. Sea Monkey able to hold those, so it does get up to 2 points. And I think there is at the minimum a pit rookie, or I think that's a Kinku monk, so it doesn't feel the best if they don't have any simple buff mechanics. I'm wondering though, do you think the sets from Spiritforged are still running something like Arena Bar, or is that going to be left behind in set 1?
But just to clarify something, the Sett would be swinging for 9, right? Because it has the war camp,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
it
Yeah,
would
it
be able
does.
to go over if it has the buff. Yeah. That being said, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think this deck is really very popular for whatever reason. And I think there is a lot of room for experimentation. He does have one of the best leader abilities in the game. It is gated behind the buff mechanic, which does limit your card pool.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to save units like this is just not common. It's a huge premium, and it does let you to play in different ways, like you said before. And I think that was a really good call out. Is that it does let you get to play in very different ways. Like you can play the very aggressive hold one, with the yellow set against decks that might not be as good aggressively pushing into those wide boards. And then you can play this the orange set brawler, like you said, when you are playing as the aggressor. So I like what you called out there, and I think that's a good point. And it makes me very surprised that this deck is so underrepresented.
Yeah, and a couple little nice plays coming out from Rumble. The cloth armor with quick draw adding +2 shield. So that forecaster is actually defending for +3 more. I think a total defense of 6 with the war camp. Gem Jammer adding 3 more on top of that. So defending for 9 to 9 as it stands. So Sett trying to deploy out this challenge. Kinku Monk and the Gem Jammer get taken down, bringing the Sett just over the forecaster's head. And I think she's just very well might get this conquer unless there's another bit of a combat trick, because right now as it stands, forecaster is defending for 6 to that current 9 might. Or am I doing the math right? Forecaster shield 1 3, shield 2 5, war camp 1 6. Yeah,
because the cloth armor is a shield 2, so shield 3 +1. So yep. And it looks like it does end up going through, retreating back off the monastery as expected, as this does keep your unit safe. It keeps that buff as a good resource for later, and you can conquer it again next turn for a draw. So pretty good.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, with the conquer, you do net yourself another buff, able to allow the Sett legend ability to get played out if you need to do so. We see the Rumble champion Gem Jammer of retreat, and I believe what was the other card? Brynir. That okay. So decent hand, but doesn't look like a game-winning hand if you ask me. It looks like she has good units, but taking a look at what Sett is bringing to the current board, it doesn't look like it's going to be too advantageous going forward. Decides to just play out the chosen champion, and I believe that's the one that reads give all your mechs +1 period, right?
So that one is the Rumble Scrapper, and your mechs have +1, and when you hold, play a token into your base. So it looks like this is more of the tribal mech deck playing with for the holds, as we see with the cloth armor, and obviously the war camp is going to work well with that, where you just stack up this war camp, and then you just keep trying to hold with this champion Rumble and generate a bunch of tokens. Unfortunately, it doesn't work super well when you're playing from behind like this.
Yeah, definitely a bit better card on the offense, but Sea Monkey getting up to 5th Conquer. Monastery Hirana going to be using the buff to get a simple draw, so seeing a couple more cards off the top. Drew into a challenge, a fantastic card to use with the Sett Brawler, especially when you're sitting on top of the Triforian War Camp to get a +1 on top of that might. So I'm going to bet there might just be a challenge being deployed out this turn, because there's no such thing as any counterplay options for the Rumble, being Fury, being mine. So challenge does get played out. Chosen target's going to be Sett and the Rumble Scrapper. Do you have anything to buff that Rumble over 9? Because right now you're doing all it has is 4 might. I think it's a little too tall of a task, but a retreat works on battlefields, no? Or is it everywhere?
Should be everywhere. I'm not sure what just happened. Was she tapped out? Is that what happened? She might have been.
She floated once, so the judges aren't letting her take back, but she wanted to retreat it though. I believe that was her play line. She has the retreat at the top of the hand. Are you sure it doesn't I haven't seen retreat in quite some time, but you're able to retreat it anywhere,
Yeah,
no? Why didn't she just play it?
Yep. It's just a return a friendly unit to its owner's hand. I'm not sure, because that is that kind of just takes any chance of winning away. That was very, very important to at least keep a unit for pushing up on the next turn. I'm not super sure. It might have been like a verbal confirmation, like challenge. Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. And then like, okay, now I'm playing recall, and they're like, no, you said okay. So
yeah, the judges are being stricklers, as they tend to do in a lot of regional formats, which makes sense. You want to make sure you're playing it perfectly as you can. very unforgiving, which some people aren't used to. But playing out another Rumble Scrapper, it would have been nice to have 2 on the board because they do indeed stack. They're able to give +2 to all your mechs, and if you hold with both of those, you will get 2 3 mites, very synonymous to those Pharaoh's Forerunners. For the hold, of course, holding against the Sett is a whole lot easier said than done. The Gem Jammer, of course, going to be trying to contest the Monastery, the Sea Monkey going down. And because of the Scrapper, it does allow that Gem Jammer to go right over the top of the Sea Monkey. So nice little conquer, but not too great going forward. The point disparity still leaning towards Sett's side. The Sett brawler still feeling completely safe and comfortable on the Trifarian, which will be holding him up to 6 points. From this position, once it passes back over to Sett, are you feeling it just kind of retreating and setting up a final 6th to 8th push? Or would you rather just throw everything on Trifarian and just try to hold until you win?
I kind of don't hate holding to winning when Rumble is in this position, which is like a pretty bad position, to be honest, as this deck is somewhat, at least from what we've seen from the units, it seems somewhat slow. You don't really have a lot of aggressive pushes on the turn that you play cards. I would not hate setting up a big hold because it does seem difficult to clear. That being said, you do prefer to see the yellow set when you're going for these hold strategies, and it does appear that the Rumble tribal deck is fairly good at holding with the shield and then the war camp and then the cloth art. Like, there are a lot of cards that are just giving bonus shield, bonus might. So I think personally I'm trying to clear everything, put my opponent on, have some form of accelerate, some form of removal, because you do trade nicely with those with this Sett leader anyway. But we will see here.
Oh, and that is a card we don't see too often. Is that the King? Wait, what card is that? I think it is King, right? No.
No, that is, I don't remember its name. It looks I am, you know what? I am learning so much today. I thought I knew all
I
the
found
cards,
it, NA. It's called Marching Orders. It's an action with the ability to get repeated. Choose a friendly unit anywhere and an enemy unit at the battlefield. They deal damage equal to their might. So another form, like we saw Strike Down earlier in round 1, another type of challenge. So another form of base or removal for battlefield minions. So targeting the Sett brawler, targeting the Gem Jammer, taking out the Gem Jammer, of course. So I like Marching Orders because it's 0 power. So Sett wants to be very conscious of using his power cost, but because Marching Order doesn't cost anything, at only 3 energy doesn't feel all that bad. The only caveat is that it can't take down units in the base, which is a bit more valuable, but for no power, I'll take that any day. You take down the other battlefield, allowing a very simple straight up forward conquer with the Fiora, going up to 7 total points. You're looking good. I don't see anything this Rumble player could do to get out of this situation. Are you?
Yeah, this is pretty rough, and the Sett player does have a couple options here, right? Like, you can draw off the Monastery, which looks like they're choosing to do. The other kind of cool play is the Fiora does have ganking when she's mighty, right? Which, okay, never mind. She does have mighty, so you could just move her over to the war camp and go for the big hold, like you said. That is an option. Actually, it would probably be better to move over to the Monastery, right? Because you don't want
a bunch of mechs to come down. Right? Yeah, it's just tough to give them all accelerate. I don't know of any card that kind of readies your mechs as you can, but gonna be playing out a treasure hoarder just to try to defend both battlefields somewhat evenly. And it looks like to end the turn, going to be hiding a Hidden Blade on the Monastery, saying try to take one of these battlefields, but you will not take down both of these battlefields. I am looking very primed to go for my final 8th hold to victory score and taking this game number 1, because I don't see a world, especially given the fact that Rumble is simply at 3 points. Even if you could clear this, there's just so much time the Sett player can do to just try to develop the board and then make a final push. even if they had to, right? I mean, from this position, it looks like you're just gonna hold most likely both of these battlefields, if you ask me. I see a good card in hand, the reaction speed +2 for every enemy unit. I forgot what it's called, but against all odds, that's what it was. Against all odds could do something, but not in this position, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't think this is really doable. I think, well, I know it's not doable because there's the hidden blade, but just looking at the hand, there isn't another way to get a unit that can even attack. So this is looking like a pretty easy scoop, as one of these battlefields is going to hold. So just move on to the next game, save your time.
I couldn't agree more. Move on to the next game. We saw the previous round one end up in a tie. You don't want to find yourself in those type of situations because too many ties will keep you out of that top cut, of course. But you know, there is something like a Brynir Thundersong, force out a hidden blade. But if you play out the Brynir as we're seeing now, you're left with 3 little runes to play anything else. You only have the Rumble Scrapper in base. That's only 1 unit allowed to make 1 standard move towards one of these battlefields. I don't think there's any world where you're conquering 2, but she just wants to see what's the hidden blade. Are you even getting over the Fiora? What's the equipment there? Was that a Warmonks? Okay, you will with a smoke screen.
Yeah, and then, well, and it's pretty tapped out, so just going to hold up to 8 here, unless there is something I am very obviously missing.
No, I think there's nothing you're missing at all. The Trifarian War Camp will be held going up to 8, but it looks like this Rumble player does want to have him actually win the game. He's saying, you know what, I know you won, but let me just actually pass the turn so you win. And Fiora getting saved by the Sett legend ability, of course. The hidden blade gonna be hitting the trash because the Brynir Thundersong not allowing it. You got an additional point, and maybe those are the mini wins you want as a Rumble player. You're saying, I'm not winning the game, but I want to get these mini victories to kind of keep myself motivated going forward, because this game did not feel too good. You pass your turn, and that is GG. Move on forward into that game too. And Sett looked great there. How'd you feel about this Sett player?
Yeah, I mean, the Sett deck is cool. I think the Sett deck, again, as I've mentioned before, is one of the decks where the legend has a somewhat irreplaceable ability. It's not like, for instance, the Fiora deck is great, don't get me wrong, but its legend just says ramp 1, right? It's not doing something unique. There are cards that do that. There are a lot of cards that do that with like the Catalyst, the Mobilize, some other stuff like the Volley Leader, a lot of different ways to do that. Well, Sett is the only leader that says every single turn I can save
as
something.
we find ourselves heading into that game number 2, can Rumble try to turn things around? They kind of saw what Sett brought to the table in that game number 1. Rumble had a decently good start, developed out some nice little mechs early on, but once they forgot to retreat the Rumble Scrapper, it started to really go downhill. They paid an energy but didn't get the fruits from that pay. But even in that moment, if they retreated, they would still have to hard cast the Scrapper. Because I think where Rumble gets carried away is if you're able to stack those Rumble Scrappers and then you're able to push on with all your little mechs. Let's see if that game plan could be something she has in mind going forward as we jump into this game too. I would imagine she's most likely going to be on the play, but I think she was on the play last game, wasn't she?
Yeah. I mean, I hope things go a little bit differently. And okay, interesting thing is that the Sett is still opting to go for the orange set, which does make sense, right? We did see that the Rumble player is going for a hold strategy, so you do need the Sett brawler to actually break through. Okay, that was interesting. It looked like she passed over and then like started resolving the vision, but obviously both players seem okay with it, so no big.
Yeah, it looks like things are good to go. Going to be playing out Illusion to start things off for Sett. And to be something to keep in mind, the Orange Forge will be the battlefield for the Rumble player. We did see things like the Cloak, but I don't think we saw any other equipment, right? Because I believe it's the same one we saw from the previous game where you could pay 1 energy less for non-token gear. And that's the battlefield they're going to be conquering first. So going up a point, feeling decent about that. What can be your turn 2 player? Tapping 4. It looks to be a card I'm not super familiar. At least I can't tell the art from this position. Can you, Ane?
I can't quite see either. I guess we'll see when the card is played. I will say it really does stink to play Rumble and not see your Forecaster Production Surge combo. That is like kind of the staple of the Rumble cards of the mech archetype. So it is quite unfortunate to not see that.
You know, it might very well be the other Rumble champion. It is a 4 cost, and it could be why we couldn't recognize the art because we don't get to see it too often. I believe that is the foiling. Almost makes it look like a body card, but it's going to be Rumble the Hot-Headed. Each mechs get Assault 1 on the push, of course, and when you conquer, you may recycle another friendly unit to play a mech from your trash, so could make a big difference going forward. As it stands, it looks to be just a straightforward four-room play because you have nothing to benefit in your trash since it's so early game. So I think just trying to develop out a unit either or. Looks like Sett will get her 1 point of themselves ready and does keep it safe as every single Lucian player, Lucian champion player tends to do. And I'm seeing a pretty good card that we get to see only in a lot of Sett decks, the Wallop. How do you feel about Wallop if you remember from Sett players?
I like the card a lot. I think it has a lot of cool applications with Lucian specifically. If you have the Warmugs on the Lucian, right? So you swing up the Lucian, you conquer, you get the buff. Then Lucian re-readies himself, you can pull him back, and he can play Wallop and re-ready himself. So you can go a double conquer pretty easily with Lucian if
That
you do
does
see that
make
card
sense.
and then a way to buff them.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Singularity in Rumble's hand, though it is the Sett did get buffed, so unfortunately the Singularity would not do a ton here. Just remove like the Lucian and then remove the buff from the Sett, which maybe that's enough. I feel like it's not.
Yeah, and it would set him back half a rune, if you will, since you do get 2 runes back on your turn. But gonna be pushing the Dreaming Tree just to see what you can do. And at least if you have something like a Stupefy just to draw 1, but I like the Singularity play. But as you said, Sett legend ability, just one of the best legend abilities. At least it wasn't Sett 1. It still looks to be quite powerful in Sett 2. Singularity, both targets.
Oh, wow.
One's gonna be Lucian, one's gonna be Sett Brawler. And even if he didn't, even if he used the Sett legend ability, it looks like they're electing to go with the Call to Glory to just save one of these units without having to waste any additional rune resources. Does that make sense just to use Sett Brawler's buff and go up to 8?
So it's just a matter of, do you care more about cards in hand or do you care about the amount of energy you have? And just got to kind of make the call, and you do that with full knowledge of what you have in your hand. Obviously, we can't really see besides the Wallop and the Call to Glory, but opting to maintain the hand advantage over the runes, which I think is pretty normal for the Sett deck, to be honest. As one thing this deck does struggle with a lot is card draw, which seems to be a common theme with a lot of these more pet decks, these not tier 1 decks. I mean, decks that aren't Draven.
Mm-hmm.
Or decks that is you struggle with card draw, and being able to maintain that hand is really important because it gives you options. And in this case, your legend is free, air quote free. You do deramp 1 for it, but it is not a card you're dedicating, so you do get to maintain your hand advantage. And when you are potentially bleeding cards from your hand, I mean, being able to not do that is pretty important.
Yeah, I think so as well. And you know, a great card I'm looking to see that's at the top of the hand, most likely going to be played out this turn, is that Marching Order. Basically a challenge, but for only units on the battlefield. So you are able to do it. Looks like they might just be going for the Hidden Blade. Seems a little unnecessary, but perhaps just trying to get rid of the mech before, because they were tapped out. Is Marching Order only your units on the battle? No. Choose a friendly unit anywhere, and then an enemy unit, they deal might to each other. I wonder why they didn't want to play. My only guess is they wanted to keep 3 runes available. Let's see what they do with the final 3 runes. Oh, they wanted double the trouble, double removal of both of these units. He will be playing out the Marching Order on top of the Hidden Blade. Wouldn't it have made sense though? 4, 6. No, you would have lost your set because combat damage would have killed it if you only did one marching order.
Would you not go? Okay, this is sequenced a bit weird. How I thought this was going to be played is you swing your Sett into the Forge, right? And then he gets the Conquer because it's only defending for 3, right? Am I missing a number? But it's defending for 3, and so you get the buff on the Sett for conquering, and then you can play the marching order, and then you clear the other rumble, right? Because then your Sett's at 5.
I love that. I love that play line. It seems to be so much more ideal.
You don't have the Hidden Blade, and then you. Yeah, well, okay, there's the Dreaming Tree draw, but I definitely do not think. So you have to think of it this way, right? You're giving your opponent 2 cards for you getting 1 card, and that's like a net neg for you. So I'm pretty sure I would not play it that way. But that being said, I'm sure they have a plan. It did get to clear both battlefields. It committed an extra card, unfortunately. So actually, it ended up being the same amount of cards, right? Because you had to commit 2 cards from hand to get a draw plus a double a double clear, instead of committing 1 card from hand and clearing both. So it ends up like the Dreaming Tree draw didn't change anything because you used the same amount of cards and you cycled your Hidden Blade.
Yeah, so. And real quick, Nate, how did the Sett player get a +1 on Dreaming Tree? I thought there was only the Rumble champion on Dreaming Tree. Isn't it target your own unit? Dreaming Tree, I'm pretty sure reads when you target a friendly unit, draw 1. Or am I misreading that one?
Well, didn't they use that marching orders card to target their own unit?
Yeah, but the unit wasn't on Dreaming Tree.
Yeah, so Sett pushed up onto Dreaming Tree and killed the Rumble, and then
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
I got you.
it pushed up onto Dreaming Tree after Hidden Blading.
Yeah, I got you.
You're good.
Warmog's coming down. I completely forgot the push was first. Is that they did the other way around? I was so caught up in the line of play you said seemed to be a little bit more optimal, of course. But yeah, had to do the Hidden Blade so that you could push into Dreaming Tree to, of course, get that draw 1 from the marching order, leaving 3 to 4 runes available for the Sett player. Rumble having a whole lot of cards available to them. Do they have some kind of answers? Because they started off strong, but they're slowly kind of dwindling down, losing the point tempo after that previous double unit kill push from Sett. That was a fantastic play. Either way you did it, it still ended up putting you in an advantageous position. So well done so far for Sett. Now it's up to Rumble to try to take control back in her favor. Pushing the Pharaohs first because you're a little bit scared of those 4 remaining runes, so fair play to them, but you need to get rid of the Brawler. It's just so tough to do so sometimes because we haven't seen something like a punch first at all. That could be lurking in the hands. I would be terrified. That Sett Brawler would go up to what, 10 total might?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of might. Conquers a lot. I will say I think the Rumble deck, at least from what we've seen, could easily defend that. They do set up, and it looks like we are beginning the setup. So this seems a lot more optimal than the last game, setting up a double 4-runner, which means even if you do clear that out, that is still, 12 might in tokens, quite a bit, coming up on the following turn. And actually, it's more because there is the shield, right? So that's actually defending for 14. Wow.
Yeah, that is actually a wall building up on Dreaming Tree. And to add on to that, you do have a hidden card. I'm trying to think back what those hidden cards could be. What was in hand? I guess we'll find out rather shortly, but Sett does have available options. They could try to get over the 14 might with a double buff play because you go up to 7, go up to 11. No, you're a little bit out of the range. I was going to say if you retreat your Sett, use the buff, something like a Showstopper. But no, you're not able to use the buff before Showstopper. You would need something like a Pit Rookie and then the Showstopper, right? That could be enough.
Yeah, I will say the scary part comes is even if you do crack it, how do you not lose everything on the crack back? You do have to cleanly conquer it, right? Because you do need to keep your Sett and get him the buff after the conquer, so that you can save it later. But that's pretty easy, right? Because you just put the Warmogs on him, and the Warmogs goes. So what? If we put the Warmogs on it now, it will be at goes up to 9 with the buff usage. Play like a pit rookie or something. Goes up to 13. Still not enough to cleanly swing over, though. This is pretty hard, actually.
He would need the double buff, like a pit rookie, use the buff again, and then showstopper to get a buff and push in. I think that might, no, because you're 13, 14. It might tie exactly, but as you said, those mech tokens looking ferocious on the clapback, especially if they have something like a Rumble Scrapper, which we know is right there in the champion zone. You're able to play out each of those mechs going to be +1, and one of the newest Sett cards added to this deck, I believe. What was his name? It's something Dragon, the Fade Dragon. You brought it to our attention earlier. Fantastic card, just a little bit expensive, but you're able to get 4. Wow, I just read it. You're able to get 4 friendly units buff, and every time you spend a buff, you get a gold token on top of that. So Sett spending a buff, you should be able to get a gold, or am I misreading that card?
I believe that's correct, and it looks like it was forgotten. Because that is a... Oh, okay. Nope, there we go. So we do get the gold token, and if this... So what, it's up to 12, you put the Warmogs on it, that's 13. You still need 2 more might to cleanly conquer this.
If there is a way to not push the showstopper first, but gonna be attaching Warmog, so up to, I believe, what did we say? Is it 14 at the moment? 7, 11, 12, and then the buff 13.
So this will swing in for 14. So just opting the trade in, and then this is kind of nice in that it does let you get another gold token with a Fade Dragon and pull the Sett back safely to your base. But there's the hidden. Oh, it's just a Consult the Past. Okay, this is a very interesting Rumble build, opting to play like these. A card like Consult the Past, I generally see in decks that have a lot of combat tricks where you want to draw into these cards or you want to bluff other hiddens. But okay, so no, we are gonna, what, does this cleanly win now?
It was with the cloth bringing it up to +2 shield, but the Call to Gloria, infamous combat trick from Sett, of course, as we all know from Sett 1, using the Fade Dragon's buff to add 3 more on top of this. So he's swinging in for 17 now, because he was at 14 plus a 3, 17 total might compared to the 16 total might. So just getting over by a hair. It is a decent hold, or it is a decent conquer, I should say. But man, you are not feeling too confident going on the next turn. You're completely tapped out, and there is no longer any Call to Glories in hand. So you're going to be going up to 6, which feels rather good. But look at the mech army that this Rumble player is about to build back in the base. All these mechs. And like we said, they might just be swinging in for 3 on top of that with the scrapper most likely being the likely play going forward for Rumble. Rumble's looking pretty good, I want to say, in this game.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of cards used, and admittedly, you did get the conquer, which is good. You're up to 6, and you will have 2 units next turn to try and push back in. It looks pretty scary pushing into this Rumble army, though, as with the Hidden Blade combined with the Consult the Past, you just have what, like 7 cards in hand, and you don't really need to commit much from your hand here to take this. Like,
yeah,
Sett's
and if you take down the
has
Sett Brawler, that's half the issues there for Sett, because you only have the Fade Dragon. It is swinging in for 7, but it looks like you have something like a smokescreen to bring that dragon down to size and feel a whole lot more manageable to deal with. So I think Rumble, funny enough, despite being behind by 2 points, is feeling in a decent position, all off the backs of the double Fairies Forerunner. Who would have thought one of the best Fury cards, bringing them 2 times on a battlefield, would be making the difference here? And it looks like the stream experienced a little bit of lag. Hopefully it all caught up. I'll refresh it during the break just in case. Or you know what, Chow, go ahead and refresh it now. I don't know what's going on with that, but we should be all caught up now. And 2 for 6-7 runes. Is it just Scrapper, or are you seeing a different line perhaps?
I'm not super sure off the top of my head. You do have to keep in mind like another Call to Glory. And even if you do clear the Sett through combat, remember that the Sett legend still is available, so you can pull the Sett back and get yet another gold token. So a lot of gold tokens. This Fade Dragon has had a lot of value, huh? I hadn't seen it actually in action until this game, and I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, it looks to synergize so well with Sett Brawler, which makes sense why Sett Brawler is the chosen champion two times in a row, because sometimes we do see the switch up with those yellow legends taking his place. But Fade Dragon, it almost seems like the obvious choice every game. Smoke Screen gonna be coming down, but Sett Legend doing what it does each and every time there's a buff unit. So recalling it back to base, saving it for another day, and now Sett doesn't feel all that bad about the following turn. There's 2 mech tokens. Granted, they're all going to be defending for +1 because of the shield from the Rumble Legend. So I'm wondering if you're going to be able to split both of these mechs, or do you just try to hold one? Because right now, Sett could be on the cusp of a final push. If they're able to conquer both battlefields on this very next turn, that's going to be GG's, not sending us to a game 3. It's just going to be 2-0 win, and might be splitting the differences, going up to 6 herself. But man, I don't know about this play. With 6 runes remaining, I would imagine you wanted to try to hold one battlefield, but perhaps because of the Sett Brawler, it might have not felt too comfortable to do that. You know, it looks tough. I completely forgot about the Sett Legend ability, allowing you to save the Sett Brawler there.
Did we miss another Fade Dragon trigger off of the Sett Legend? I think I did. As that does spend a buff.
True, it does
So
spend a buff technically.
But anyways,
and is it just my stream, or is your stream kind of having hiccups here and there? I'm sorry about that, chat. It usually never does this.
I do hear, yeah, so my stream is definitely pretty choppy. So yeah, I think it is the stream, unfortunately.
Okay, it could be a global thing, because guys, usually the stream is decently clear, so it might not be the stream. I'm seeing all my internet is up to speed. I'm getting no frame lag. And it might just be the Chinese stream. A whole lot of viewers tuning in for the Sett 2 or the second Spiritforged Regional. And okay, just putting everything onto Orange Forge as much as you can. But like we said, the Sett Brawler, there's one thing he's good at, is going tall. And he might just be tall enough, but man, he's going to give him a run for his money, right? With the Scrapper on top of the shield. How much is he defending on each? I believe that's 4 on each of those mechs, no?
Yeah, so you got the Scrapper and the shield, so they're all +2, right? So it's defending for 10 on Dreaming Tree, and oh my goodness, Scrapper is 5 base, I want to say. Rumble, where are you at, Rumble? I want to say he's 5 base, in which case, no, 4 base. So defending for 16 on the Forge. So it is a lot. That being said, you can just conquer 1, go with the 7, pass it over, and then conquer 1, go with the 7, pass it over, and just try and hold, right? Because then you will be up a point and you'll hold to 8. As it seems pretty difficult. We haven't seen Rumble really been able to double conquer very often. I don't think we've seen a single accelerate unit played. You would have to be wary of removal plus the one that grants ganking.
Right.
But that doesn't seem very likely. I guess we'll see here. I mean, it should be pretty straightforward if this works or not.
Yeah, coming down to the final moments of the second game in this best-of-3 series, 7-7. Each of these players, either they score this very moment for the Rumble player, or the Sett will be holding for the victory. And unfortunately, the stream experiencing some kind of issues. Apologize those for all the viewers out at home. But will the Fade Dragon and Fiora able to hold that Dreaming Tree? Or is there something like NA said, Gem Jammer looks to be in hand, but that's just going to be enabling one of these mechs to get ganking. Gem Jammer in hand, Brenier, a Scrapper, the other Relenting one, I believe, or we'll call him the Red Rumble. It looks tricky, but might as well go ahead and draw the 2 from Consulted Plaz. I'm seeing a better card. There's Smokescreen and Gem Jammer. Is there a world those two 1-2 combination? Let's think about it there. Fey Dragon's at 7, plus the Warmogs bringing it up to 8, and then Fiora's just at a base 4 currently. So that's 12 total might. The Scrapper, did we say was at 4? Yeah, it's 4 might. You add the Cloth. Actually, the Cloth is 0 because it's shield. So, there's just not a world you're conquering and taking down both of these units, no?
Yeah, it seems pretty rough. I don't really see it myself, unfortunately. Maybe there is some interaction that I don't. I mean, you could play, where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can go Gem Jammer, Smokescreen, and then unfortunately you can't play. Yeah, you can't even
Another
play
Scrapper, right?
Yeah, it unfortunately does look a bit doomed here. Is there a way to draw a card? Maybe I don't think so.
Yeah, they already did the Consulted Pass. They look at 2 additional cards, and that's how they ended up drawing the Smokescreen. And chat, we'll go ahead and refresh the entire stream to try to make it a little bit better going forward. It should be ending here rather shortly, but I'm wondering, we never experienced this kind of crazy interruptions on last week's stream. So hopefully it's not on our side of things, but we will see as these players inch on forward into the final moments of this game. It looks like she's thinking very deeply, what are the potential lines of play? What can I possibly do to take down this Dreaming Tree on my turn? If not, I lose and I go down to 1 win, 1 loss, which is not the end of the world. It's still very early in today's regional, so you could try to win out, because I know at the very minimum you do want to try your best at that Rumble Best of Champion. It looks super cool, that metal Rumble card. I know a lot of people in chat would be ecstatic to pick that up, but Gem Jammer does get played out. Most likely going to be targeting the highest might unit, that being the Scrapper. But on top of that, we said it, there is just no combination of cards that's going to be enabling the Scrapper to take down both the Fey Dragon and Fiora together. So I think Sett gonna be walking away with this game in a 2-0 fashion. It looks very well, like it looks super likely to be the case.
Yeah, because this goes, so what, they are now defending for 8 as the Fey Dragon is at 4, Fiora's at 4, and attacking him for 5, which should not be enough unless there's something I am missing.
And the screen just went black for me. Has it gone black for you, NA?
Yeah, it just keeps flashing black. Oh my goodness.
Wow, guys. If it's both of me and NA have way different internet, so it looks like the stream is just experiencing technical difficulties. They threw it back to the casting booth, so guys, I would say apologies for the technical difficulties, but it's not on our end. It's definitely not on our end, because 2 people were experiencing it at 2 parts of the US differently. I think China just having a little bit of a tougher time. Perhaps the viewership just going crazy through the roof for the second regional. But yeah, Default, F's in the chat for the stream. Not this stream, the Chinese stream, kind of letting us down, not letting things play out as they should. But, you know, the picture was painted as clear as day. That was a win for Sett, so well done.